Okay, we've all been there, right? You desperately need to repair your mending gear, you want to enchant a fresh set of diamond armor, or maybe you just survived yet another surprise creeper attack on your base and need to rebuild. So what do you usually do? You spend hours running around in the dark, manually swinging your sword, hunting down creepers and skeletons, just slowly grinding for experience points. Honestly, it's tedious, it's dangerous, and quite frankly, it's just incredibly inefficient.
But what if I told you that you could completely eliminate that grind? Seriously, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have the exact blueprint to completely automate your survival progression. We're going to dig into the underlying game mechanics to show you how to generate literally endless resources and experience, all while you barely lift a single finger. All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're totally breaking down the science and the strategy behind building the ultimate Minecraft mob farms. We're taking all the guesswork right out of the game's code and turning it into your absolute greatest survival advantage. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the power of automation, Minecraft mob spawning rules, building the perfect farm, maximizing XP and efficiency, and finally, sorting the massive haul. Starting off with Section 1, the power of automation. Stop grinding, start farming. Making the leap from manual hunting to automated farming is honestly the most crucial step you can take in your survival gameplay. A proper automated setup doesn't just hand you free XP. It basically provides the foundational resources for everything else you want to do in the game. Think about it. You get endless bones for bone meal to instantly grow your crops, arrows for ranged combat, and, crucially, all the gunpowder you need for TNT and elytra rockets. You even get chests full of rotten flesh, which is actually perfect for trading with clerics, plus string for scaffolding and tools. Suddenly, you aren't just scraping by to survive anymore, you are managing an empire. Moving to Section 2, Minecraft mob spawning rules, under the hood of the algorithm. So, to build this empire, we have to look at the game's spawning mechanics differently. They aren't just random events. It's more like a strict budget. And the biggest factor here is the mob cap. Basically, this is the absolute maximum number of mobs the game allows to exist in your loaded world at any one time. If this cap is full, say because there are 50 zombies just wandering around in some dark, unlit cave deep underground, the game simply stops spawning new mobs. Period. Those stray mobs are actively stealing spawns and therefore stealing loot right out of your farm. Keep this specific number in mind, 70. In the game's algorithm, the base global mob cap for monsters is exactly 70. And the game evaluates this capacity every single tick based on the chunk data around the player. If the total number of monsters in the loaded world hits that limit of 70, 0 new monsters are going to spawn. And where exactly are these chunks loaded? Well, they sit within a 128-block spherical radius right around your player character. This is your spawning sphere. If you want a highly efficient farm, it is absolutely essential to eliminate every single other spawnable space within 128 blocks of exactly where you stand. If you don't, the game is just going to waste its precious mob cap budget on random zombies in random caves, rather than funneling them inside your carefully constructed trap. Section 3. Building the perfect farm. Location and logistics. All right, now that we've got the underlying science down, let's manipulate these mob cap rules in the physical game world. Setting up the right environment is basically everything. According to our sources, the absolute best location to build is over an ocean biome. Why? Because the ocean surface naturally prevents most mob spawns right out of the gate. Next, you want to build high up into the sky, establishing your base platform way up at Y level 163. By doing this, you're yanking your entire 128-block spawning sphere completely up into the empty sky, leaving all those messy caves down below completely unloaded. You'll also want to thoroughly light up any nearby islands and actually drop your simulation distance down to 3 or 4 chunks just to keep the game's focus incredibly tight. Okay, so once you're perfectly positioned way up in the sky, you build the drop tower. You start with a base platform lined with hoppers to catch all that sweet loot. Then, you build a drop tube exactly 22 blocks high. This specific height is the magic number because the fall damage will leave the mobs with just a tiny, microscopic sliver of health, meaning you can finish them off with a single punch to collect all the XP. Above that tube, you build large spawning platforms with trapdoors lining the edges. Mobs think trapdoors are solid blocks, so they wander over, fall right into your water canals, and get flushed straight down into the trap. Finally, you cap the whole thing with a solid roof and throw half slabs on top so absolutely nothing spawns on the roof itself. Now here is a totally brilliant pro tip from the sources. Spiders are 2 blocks wide, right?
which means they can and will easily clog up your 22-block drop tube. To prevent this nightmare, you place carpets in a very specific grid pattern across your spawning platforms. Because spiders require a 3x3 open area to spawn, these little carpets interrupt that space, completely preventing spiders from spawning while still allowing the zombies, skeletons, and creepers to generate perfectly. It's such a simple but game-changing trick. Section 4. Maximizing XP and efficiency. Choosing your grind. Once you master the basic mechanics, you'll realize that your specific goals should really dictate your farm's design. That basic drop tower we just talked about, it's fantastic for the early game. It's super easy to build and gives you a great variety of drops. But if you want maximum experience points as fast as possible, you need a dedicated Enderman farm. Built way out in the end dimension at Y level 0, this setup utilizes sweeping edge sword attacks and a mechanic called entity cramming, which is where the game actually crushes mobs to death if too many pack into one single space. The spawn rates with this method are so insanely high that you can literally jump from level 0 to level 30 in just a matter of seconds. Now, Endermen are notoriously tricky to farm because they teleport away, but the game mechanics dictate that they absolutely cannot teleport onto water. So, to keep them trapped in your spawning area and funneling toward your kill chamber, you build all the surrounding structures, bridges, and roofs entirely out of waterlogged leaves. It's just a genius manipulation of the game's own rules that guarantees zero escapes.
Section 5. Sorting the massive haul. Managing success.
So the mobs are falling, the XP is flowing, but now you've got a new problem. You are succeeding entirely too well, and you have way too much loot to manage manually. The solution here is a fully automated storage room powered by a redstone item filter. By setting up a smart chain of hoppers, comparators, and redstone repeaters, you essentially tell the system exactly where to stash every single piece of loot. Inside a filter hopper, you place exactly 41 of your target item, like say a bone, and then you fill the remaining 4 slots with renamed filler items. This creates the precise redstone signal strength needed to ensure that only bones can pass through that specific hopper, dropping perfectly into your designated chest. Just keep in mind, this specific trick only works for items that stack to 64. But how do you actually move thousands of items from the kill chamber all the way over to your sorting system? Well, you basically have 3 transport options. A pure hopper line is the easiest to build, but honestly, it's incredibly slow, capping out at around 9,000 items an hour, and it's going to cost you an absolute fortune in iron. Water streams are much, much faster, using droppers to push the items through, but remember, water only flows 8 blocks before it needs a drop. And then there's ice. Ice is hands down the absolute fastest way to transport items, using pistons and slime blocks to rapidly shove them along. And crucially, ice is a total lifesaver if you're building farms in the nether, where water simply evaporates instantly. If you decide to use water or ice, the items are going to be zipping by so fast that the hoppers right beneath them might actually miss the pickup. So, the secret sauce here is alignment. By pushing the flowing items against a chest, a honey block, or exactly 2 sea pickles, you force the items perfectly onto the very edge of the block boundary. This physical alignment guarantees the hopper underneath sucks up every single drop without fail. It's brilliant. When you combine all of this together, the strict mob cap management, the perfect environmental placement, and the high-speed ice sorting systems, the results are just staggering. Some of the most massive automated setups can process up to 600,000 items per hour. That is a level of resource generation that completely and fundamentally transforms how you play the game. Well, we've covered the hidden spawning budgets, the essential construction techniques, the insane Enderman XP tricks, and the high-speed sorting mechanics. You now have the exact blueprint you need to stop grinding and finally start mastering your world. So, with all these fully automated solutions right at your fingertips, the only question left to ask is, what are you going to build first? Get out there, start experimenting, and take back your time. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy farming!